Oh boy, this is gonna be an interesting video. So, with the recent growth of my channel, I have gotten a few people in the comments who are, let's say, confused about why fixing disabled characters in media is such a bad thing, and wouldn't I want that for myself? So today, we're discussing a question I and countless other disabled people get asked way too often. If I could, would I fix myself? Short answer, no. Longer answer, still no, but it's more complicated than just one word. And we'll also briefly be going over why you should not heal disabled characters in media unless you yourself are disabled, and even then I'd advise being careful with how you proceed. I have an old video going a bit into this, link in the card, but it bears repeating. Firstly, fictional characters have no actual agency. They can't choose anything for themselves. Not really. You, the author, are always going to be choosing for them, even if you're writing a story about choices. So any disabled character who chooses to be healed? Not a choice an actual disabled person made. The fact that some disabled people might choose to do so, given the opportunity, doesn't mean squat in this situation. Even worse if the character doesn't actively choose it and instead has the cure forced upon them. Because, funny story, disabled people do actually have a little thing called bodily autonomy. And stories wherein that's blatantly disrespected and ignored can be extremely triggering, because a good number of us have trauma surrounding this exact problem. People not taking our own will into account when it comes to our bodies. It feeds into the trope that the only good ending for a disabled character is a cure or death. Which is not a great thing to see, frankly, implying that my life must be missing something fundamental because I am disabled and the only way I could ever be truly happy is if I wasn't anymore. Not great. Not to mention, if every disabled character in media has to either be cured or die to have a good ending. I hate to tell you this, but that's just eugenics. That's literally eugenics, no two ways about it. In case you aren't aware, any eugenics program throughout history has been based in the belief that there is one particular type of human who is inherently superior. Which is to say, white, cishet, able-bodied, neurotypical Christians. And that has led to atrocities like women of color being sterilized against their will alongside epileptics, the feeble-minded, other disabled women, and sometimes women diagnosed with being a woman disease, aka hysteria. As was stated in the infamous case of Buck v. Bell, 3 generations of imbeciles are enough. So if that's really who you want to throw your lot in with, well, I suppose I can't control your life, but you are certainly not welcome on this channel. But moving on to me, setting aside for the moment that there is literally no cure for what I have, I just have to live with my body as it is. My disabilities have been with me since I was born. They've been present my entire life in some way or another, and among other things heavily impacted my school career. I've grown up with them. They have shaped my experiences in ways I cannot possibly begin to untangle. And there is nothing anyone can do about them. My body doesn't make collagen correctly. I'm kind of shit out of luck there. Likewise, the rest of my everything is either inoperable or just a chronic condition I have to manage to the best of my ability. Asking if I would fix myself is offensive for multiple reasons, starting with that it's a moot point. I can't, So the question only serves as a reminder that you, the asker, think there is something fundamentally wrong with me existing as I do. Furthermore, it kind of invalidates all of the work I've put into building a life I enjoy and learning to live with my disabilities. But my disabilities are incredibly painful, aren't they? Wouldn't I want to get rid of that? Wouldn't I want to live pain-free? Nice thought experiment you got there, but that's all it is. And I would appreciate it if you didn't try to turn my life into one of those, thank you. Obviously, I would like to live pain-free. Living without being in pain every day sounds great. Do you know how much trauma I've had to work through because I've been in constant pain every second of my life since I was 10? No, you don't. I was an active kid. I ran around and played, and then my knees started to luxate. And it was painful and scary, and I didn't run a single step for the next decade. I was 21 entire years old before I ever ran again. It was just a quick jog across the lawn at my stepfather's summer cottage, but it was such a wild milestone for me. I felt like I was walking on air. And that light jog is still probably the most I'll ever work up to. Running at full tilt is just a really bad idea for me. But despite how small it may seem to you, it was still a monumental victory for me, implying to me that the life I have fought so hard to build, rolling a boulder uphill against a father who was resistant to anything that would mark me as disabled, a medical system that doesn't know how to deal with chronically ill kids, with a syndrome that's already rare and not understood all that well, is somehow less valuable because I don't have as much energy as you do? Because I use a wheelchair sometimes? Because I use a cane? It is beyond offensive and invalidating. So no, I do not need, nor do I want, fixing. I need a society who is willing to listen and understand when I speak. I need accessible public spaces, and time, and access to the medications I need to survive. I need a society who doesn't look at me and see a checklist of problems to be solved. I need people to step down off of the pedestal of savior they like to place themselves on, and respect that I do not need to be saved. That my life is worth the exact same as yours and is not a fun hypothetical to go tossing around. I am not a tragedy. I do not need to be fixed. My value as a person is not based upon what I can contribute to society, and for those of you who genuinely believe that it is, well, I am very sorry that you're so deeply entrenched in capitalist propaganda, and I wish you a speedy recovery. I need you to understand that seeing people I relate to in media have their stories end over and over, either in a cure or a merciful death, is absolutely horrid and depressing, and not helpful for self-confidence or acceptance. Either my own acceptance of my disability or acceptance by the people surrounding me. That is why this trope is so horrible, and that is why you should not do it unless you're going to be discussing all of the above extensively alongside it. But, okay, for those of you who have watched this entire video and are still wondering something along the lines of, but if we could heal a disability, wouldn't it be morally incorrect to let someone continue to be disabled? Firstly, what did I say about that savior pedestal? For this one moment, I will indulge the thought experiment. Say there was a way to magically cure any disability. Okay? What does this cure consider to be a disability in the first place? Would it count my autism? Would my glasses not count because my vision problems are so mild, and glasses are so normalized? What exactly constitutes a disability is an extremely odd blend of personal, medical, and social concepts, It is not that easy to narrow down. And all of that aside, we come back to the idea of bodily autonomy. Have you considered that some people might not want your cure? That you could actually end up making their lives worse, not better, if you forced it on them? I know you want to live in this dream world where a person would be absolutely fine within seconds if you just snapped away an extremely central part of their daily life in an instant, but that really isn't the case. You have no idea how that might affect them, and no matter what, it would take, most likely, years of recovery to reorient oneself into an abled existence. It wouldn't be a one-and-done problem solved, and anything that claims otherwise just isn't realistic. More importantly, the very idea that it would be up to abled people to allow disabled people to remain disabled or not is extremely demeaning. We are our own people, with our own thoughts and feelings. We don't need other people butting into our lives trying to make decisions for us. No one knows our lives better than we do. No one knows our needs better than we do. But that concept never actually seems to make it through to anyone who should care. Social services makes it their sole goal in life to grill us as thoroughly as possible until we either give up or they have to give in. Doctors don't take us seriously, often for years at a time, if ever. Perfect strangers think it's completely fine to touch us without permission, or ask invasive questions, or tell us to our faces that, in their opinion, we are better off dead. So no, it would not be morally incorrect to let people continue to be disabled, even if you had a surefire, absolutely no risk involved cure waiting in the wings. And if after all of this you are still not convinced, well, I tried. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, consider liking it and maybe subscribing. I will be back here Thursday after next. Bye.